As a former gunnery sergeant in the US Marine Corps and joins us live from Washington, D.C. Welcome to Impact. I understand you support this decision by President Trump. Why?
Well, first of all, the report that was given wasn't entirely accurate. The data that he was using was by a very liberal group that was supporting this issue, and they left out all of the dollars that were required and the money to go into resources that personally our military does not really have to train everyone, to transition everyone, to accommodate everyone. The only numbers that that particular group was focusing on was transgender surgery. They did not take into account the amount of money it would cost for the time off for the transition, for any of these other areas, and the accommodation. We don't even allow someone to enter on active duty who needs insulin shots, who has diabetes. So why would we have somebody come on who's going to require surgery and have to have hormone therapy? With that said, there are many illnesses and disabilities that are possibly curable through surgery that people are not even allowed on active duty because it is not the responsibility to become a medical services agency. Those who are serving on active duty right now, yes.
Can I just put you, if you put resources aside, do you think there is a reason why transgender people shouldn't be serving in the military?
First of all, transgender people were not on active duty all the way up until this policy was lifted in 2016. It has been a long-standing policy within the United States military. So those who are saying that they are disappointed, when they joined, it was not accepted. So much of the data that I have seen has been based upon liberal and Obama policies. President Obama actually destroyed our combat readiness significantly by cutting over $100 billion from our military.
Let's not talk about President Obama, though. We're talking about the future. And I want to put to you, finally, the thought, isn't it American that everyone who is able to serve the country should be allowed to serve the country?
No, it is not a right to serve in the United States military. It's a very, very, very difficult privilege that few can attain. And when we start turning it into an equal right issue, we have forgotten that this is a combat readiness issue. How is somebody who's going through transition capable of going on deployment for long periods of time where there may not be any medical services whatsoever? The medical health attitude on this has not even been addressed. It's called gender dysphoria. Many groups suggest that this is a mental illness versus a medical issue. The jury is still out on that. People are not allowed to join even with depression. This particular group even has a 40% higher rate of suicide. So when you're talking about reasonable accommodation, at what point for the people who are non-transgender are accommodating overwhelmingly for a group that also brings in significant issues? If we're going to lift this, then allow everyone who gastric bypass surgery, let them join so that they can lose weight. Allow people with insulin shots to join. Allow people with flat feet to join and just put arches in their shoes. I mean, there's many accommodations you can make, but at what point is your military now being exhausted on medical resources? Because with this particular group is one. A woman can't even have an abortion on active duty at the expense of the American taxpayer. But yet we're going to tell them that they must come on active duty and pay now for transgender surgery. How is this fair to all the other groups that would love to serve this country? The military is not the only way you can serve in the United States. You can serve the United States in many other ways that can accommodate you, and you can have a normal work schedule that won't require you to be on a submarine, a ship, an aircraft carrier, or deployed in the middle of the jungles in the Philippines, where many of our Marines are in special operations fighting ISIS.
What do you think about the way this story is being treated by the American media?
I think the American media has been very favorable on many levels, and you have the LGBT groups that are obviously against it. But I know many, many veterans that were highly against this, and those on active duty in multiple reviews were against this. Women on active duty in the United States Army were being told to accommodate transitioning males in the showers. So that means he may not even had surgery. I'm standing there with a man fully naked, and I have to accept that. And they were told this is what they must do. We were spending so much time and resources on diversity training, sensitivity training. I'm sorry. The mission of the military is to overwhelm and destroy the enemy. And the world depends upon us, including the UK, to be at their door when the enemy strikes. And if we are having people that can't even perform their duties because they're having surgery, they're on bed rest, and you knew this going in,
Jessie,
it's not necessarily treating the taxpayer fairly.
Jessie Jane Duff, we are in the last seconds of the program. Thank you for joining us from Washington. More to come from me in half an hour's time.